Hi, I'm Nodarse, and I'm the Executive Director for Faithful Friends. I've been the Executive Director of Faithful Friends for just over a year, and it's been a wonderful journey. I had a lot that I've learned, good, bad, and indifferent, but that's how you grow. Pretty excited about what we're going to build the second year. I'd say one of my favorite things about working about Faithful Friends is the staff and the board, because just moving from the business world to nonprofit world, I knew was going to be a big change, and I love that. But when it's a faith-based nonprofit, it's so much more than that, because it's not just a job, it's a calling. And our staff is looking to, show that love of Christ, and transform that cycle of poverty, if you will. So it just makes it that much more meaningful. We're just here, we're committed, we feel like we have this mission where we've got a lot of work to do, and we're super passionate about doing that. So how different was the first year compared to what I thought? That's a great question. It was a lot different. I knew that I would be drinking through the fire hose. There'd be a lot of new things, but there's still a lot of newness to it even after a year. And I thought that after a year, I'll have it all figured out, but we're not there yet. But I'm learning so much. And a good example of that is the corporate world. I had 35 years of experience with corporations, and we have this great, robust corporate giving program, but it's taken a little longer to get that going, even though I know these folks. And what I learned after about 6 to 9 months being here is that faith component has to be there. So whether it be a church partner, a major donor, a volunteer, if they are a strong person of faith, they're automatically going to get who we are. They're going to realize that we're unique in what we offer. And that's more critical to find folks that are passionate about showing that love of Christ to help transform kids' lives. My greatest challenge, I would say, is still trying to adapt, because the nonprofit world moves a little slower than the business world, and that's not a bad thing. But after being in an entrepreneurial environment for so long, you're used to moving really, really fast, and you have to be patient. And if you're meeting with a donor or volunteer, sometimes it takes several meetings. It usually does, just to get them to move forward. And I'm learning to be patient about that, learning to not send too many emails out at 6 o'clock in the morning or on Saturdays and so forth, because we all have lives and we are doing great work, but that work-life balance is really critical. It's always critical, but I think it's even more important in the nonprofit world. So I've learned to try to adapt to that. As far as the next 3 years, or where I see us going, I see some great things. We're focused on quality versus quantity. We definitely want to expand and impact and mentor more kids, but do that in the right way. A statistic I always share is 71% of our matches, when we connect a mentor with a mentee, sticks that first year. And that's better than almost any nonprofit out there. So we want to continue to do that, but we want to broaden our reach. We have about 75 kids that we're mentoring right now. In the next 3 years, I'd like us to get to about 200. We have about 3 people on our program team. I'd like to grow that to about 8, where we have 2 in each county, in Clackamas and Multnomah, and all the 4 main counties in the greater Portland area, so we can have more of a hub, if you will, have tighter relationships with those churches, with the partners in the community, with the kids, the schools. It's just going to make it a lot easier for us to have a better understanding of the impact of what we need to do in each of these little micro communities. So how you can help Faithful Friends, there's a lot of different ways. First of all, this time of year, we're in the summer. We typically raise a big portion of our money between September and March, where we have some fundraising events. So typically from April till about September or so is a pretty slow time. So money is always needed as a nonprofit. We could use some donations to get through these challenging times. We're always looking for volunteers, whether it be for different events that we do, and we're also looking for corporations. We're wanting to teach our kids with the Hard Hat Tours about different careers and opportunities, and it's a great way for employers to get their employees really excited and engaged about giving back to the community, meeting the kids, and seeing how they can make a big difference. So some different events on how you could get involved financially. We have an event going at Oaks Park that's a mentoring event, and we're always looking for donations to buy tickets for kids for those events. We also have our bowl-a-thon that's going to be coming up in October. That's a really fun fundraising event where the kids, the mentors, the mentees, everybody has a really, really good time. We have a need for volunteers and for donors there. And then in the fall, we're going to have a campaign to raise money towards the end of the year. And then also, Giving Tuesday is becoming a bigger and bigger thing. So if you work for a corporation, a lot of them will match a donation that you have. And that's a great way for you to give a match, your corporate employer to give a match, and help raise money and awareness for nonprofits. And that's going to be really important for us too at the end of the year. As far as for our summer campaign that we're doing right now, our goal is to raise $30,000. We've raised about $4,000 of that. We're still early on, but it's really important that you give because, again, we've seen some nonprofits that did not survive over the last couple of years. They were well established, have been in here for 10 plus years. So it's important because our costs go up. Our health insurance went up 38%. There's always costs going up. And it's so important because we put so many high percentage of the dollars that you give goes back to the program, but we want to be able to outreach for more kids, have more resources, and during this slow time of the year, this is a really critical time. So any donations that you give, if you're thinking about giving in the fall and you can give now, please give now because it's a better time. We typically have quite a bit of resources in the fall, but this is the time where things get a little bit tight for us. So as far as our monthly Giving Crew program, it's really essential because what we're trying to do is diversify our fundraising and not just be for a couple of big events. And over time, the goal is to have a big foundation where every single month we're consistently doing that. So as a donor, you might think, oh, if I could give $1,000 a year, that's great. But for us, sometimes having you give $80 a month will help us stabilize that revenue stream. And it's also, I love it as a donor because when I write a check to the nonprofits every month that I support, it reminds me and it keeps me engaged. So I think there's another level of that too. So the monthly program is very, very important. And it doesn't matter the amount. It could be $5 a month, it could be $25, it could be more. It's just that giving, I feel like either you're helping or you're not. And if you get engaged in any way possible, you're gonna make a difference in these kids' lives. So if you guys wanna get in touch with me, you can email me at al.nodarse@faithfulfriendspdx.org, or you can just go to our website, faithfulfriendspdx.org, and reach out to myself or any of the staff members there. There's no silly questions, so we'd be more than happy to talk to you. I feel like our biggest challenge is raising awareness. Everyone who hears about us say, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm surprised I didn't hear about you guys. And we could use your help in helping spread that word.